I was kidnapped when I was 6.5, missing for 6.5 months, found on the other side of a country in a raid. And that put us into a little bout of state system, orphanage, foster home. Got out when I was almost 11 and raised in Southern California, which I love, and have an amazing adopted daddy who has worked to right every wrong, which is good. I've been going to Zig Ziglar and Tony Robbins's conferences since I was, I think, 14 to 16. They started feeding me into that, and deep into church things to try to feed as much good as you can to counteract every bad that we had been through. And if you were raised in the Ziglar world and the Tony Robbins and Dale Carnegie and that whole world, you know it when you meet someone in the way they talk and the choice words and phrasings. But literally my first job, I'm from a family that I'm the first person to even go to college. My children are the first ones to do the whole college life, live on campus, get degrees, do the whole thing. Because we were raised, get a skill, make a business, growing up very entrepreneurial. But I didn't want to do real work. My degree is actually choreography. I was a ballerina. So I was a professional dancer full-time, completely nothing to do. I retired with a severe neck injury when I was early 20s. So I sat around for about a year and a half, a little depressed and trying to figure out what to do with my life. And then my only female mentor I've ever had was then. And she stepped in and said, she worked in healthcare, and she said, hey, I have a marketing position open for a community marketing person. I think you should try it. And I'm like, yeah, I have no desire to work. Like a regular job. But the only electives or things and skills that I had in my life weren't normal either. My adopted daddy, in order to make sure none of us could be taken advantage again, or hurt again, or all of the things we had been through, he started feeding skills into us, everything from self-defense to auto shop. So I took 4 years of auto shop in high school instead of home ec, so I can rebuild an engine. But I didn't want to become a mechanic. And I took photography because I liked it, but I didn't want to do that full time. And so she told me, she goes, just trust me, try it. I think you're made for this. And so I tried it, and I was made for it. And my corporate career in marketing took off pretty quickly. I went all the way up to C-suite chief marketing officer position in corporate world. And the interesting thing about dance and choreography, as a choreographer mind, going into marketing, this was way back in late 90s, early 2000s. I'm dating myself now. And the power of a brand and storytelling wasn't trendy yet. That's what choreography and dancing is. If you've ever watched a dance, or if you have children that do recitals, our entire purpose as a choreographer or dancer is to captivate an audience, take them on a journey without words. And that's the power of brand and storytelling. And that's the most iconic brands. Martin Luther King, he didn't give a plan of everything. He created an idea and a dream and created a mindset around it. And that's like the power of music. Like, why can we all remember the lyrics to every song, but not a phone number, right? Because there's power in that. And went up pretty quickly corporately in the marketing. And it wasn't until my final role, I left corporate in 2015, and I got this role in 2011. I was there for about 4.5 years. And it was the largest stage I'd ever played on corporately. And I was brought in purely to scale a company to be acquired. They weren't sellable. And I knew how to be an external rainmaker. I knew how to externally scale and grow companies. And anytime a CEO or president would come into me and be like, hey, you need to stop, we can't grow anymore, I didn't get it. I was like, who doesn't want to grow? I have time to go to the next place, then I can't do anything else here. But what I didn't understand is what had to happen inside a company to handle each level of growth. So when I went into this company and I had to help make them, to scale them to be sellable, there was only one monster where they played big enough to acquire them. And they've been trying to be sold for about 5 years. And I came in to build the external growth strategy and the internal strategy to make them sellable. And that was all new to me, the inside. And so I got to learn on a big Fortune 500, 400 million revenue company. And so it was a good place to sit in between the C-suites and learn all of the internal stuff. Did that for about 4.5 years, very successfully. I was one of the last 2 people standing, walked out together after they were bought and then pieced out, and some stayed and some got sold.